I saw this Instagram video. Basically, it started as a Google Maps view all the way up top, and then it slowly zoomed in to this random island. And it kept zooming in, zooming in. It could be really funny because we could start with like zooming in, and then it just cuts to like us being dorky somewhere.
That's a good point. It's like you're essentially building the interview muscle.
I'm gonna make sure no one's fucking calling me.
And make sure, is your coffee cup like in your face?
No.
You're good? Okay, cool.
Do you have an alarm coming up soon?
No, I turned them all off.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god, are you gonna survive?
No.
Does it have us all in it? Should I scooch in?
I think so.
Check it out.
I can switch in too.
I think we're good.
I think we're good. Okay. I really like this though. I feel like we get together, we throw up the camera, we just talk, have a conversation, catch up, intentionally get to know each other better, and like see what gold comes from it. And why is Austin eating Chef Boyardee?
It's either that or ramen. Or protein shake, but that's for after the gym.
Mm-hmm. New year, new us, boys. Well, not really, but we definitely need to.
New year, white rice.
New year, white rice, filled with white rice. But yeah, I think like no more excuses or just like.
Put it up on the board.
No
but
more
seriously,
teaching.
like fuck it, let's just turn on the camera. Like who knows what gold will come of this?
Mm-hmm.
Let's post it. Let's show the authentic stuff. Let's throw it on YouTube. Throw it on TikTok. Who fucking knows what can go viral? This might be our jam. Just authentically casual conversations of I don't know.
Maybe. What do you think, Austin?
About what?
You're just hogging up the mic.
What do you think would like resonate with you?
You're breaking the
Austin?
fourth wall. Oh, I thought you were talking about the camera.
No. No, fourth wall has been broken. What would you like? Out of all of our concepts for like content, honestly, what do you think would hit with people as like turning points, like us being raw, like this kind of stuff? I don't know. After like observing everything that we've done in all of the different shots we've taken, like what do you think would resonate with people?
What do you think would resonate with people?
I would say like kind of a little bit of all of it. Just like maybe doing what you talked about before, like interviewing, bringing other people on besides like just us and interviewing them and like doing turning points with them, but like also mixing in some of like just us too.
Sounds good. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much I think what we've landed on.
So I guess you've been like doing that with like the Ubers too. So
I think that's a good unique aspect that.
Did I show you the list that I made of like all the different kinds of people Aaron wants to interview?
No, I want to see it.
Oh, it's on my phone somewhere.
But I think Aaron, it gives us a unique edge where it's like, it like puts us in a situation where we start that and I don't know. I mean, we
Give away the game plan.
We could spice or chop that piece up, but like
we could do whatever we want.
That's true. We can do whatever.
We could literally like intercut clips of the first season of Power Rangers. Well, we do whatever we want.
It's true. Yeah.
I guess so.
I saw this.
Let's get fucking really creative.
I saw this Instagram video while I was waiting at line at Whole Foods, and it was like, what's unique about this space on the Earth? Basically, it started as a Google Maps view all the way up top, and then it slowly zoomed in to this random island. And it kept zooming in, and then after like 7 zooms, it cut to a real video of this lady walking on dunes in some private island. I'm like, damn, that was beautiful. But I also think it could be really funny because we could start with like zooming in, and then it just cuts to like us being dorky somewhere. I think it's a really cool intro of like where are we in the world? Starting with the Google, because we could easily do that. Screen record, Google Map, zoom. Then it cuts to us sitting there
in a different location.
Or in the same location.
Yeah.
But it all starts with a Google
find it
Map
on the
zoom
map.
in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it'd be funnier if it was like boom, zoom, Denny's interview in Denny's. Like, you know, like that's hilarious.
That's funny. Hitting a grand slam.
Or a turning point in a Denny's. Like a turning point at the beach. A turning point, I don't know.
What's up, guys?
In a normal location.
Today we're in Los Angeles and we're joined with Todd. And Todd, what do you do? I'm homeless. Okay, man. What do you like to do for self-care? I don't.
Homeless.
That was one on your list, right? A homeless person.
I think turning point 100%. And there's a lot of people who want to do that. But in terms of just hearing people's takes or stories in general, like, because for example, and I'm sure that they'd have their own story, but like the two girls that said they're down to do the podcast, one of them just finished grad school and she literally just started her job as a therapist for troubled teenage youths, which is so fucking cool.
That's awesome.
So cool. The other,
we gotta put her on the list.
They're on the list.
Cool.
They're on the list. The other, because they're best friends. The other helps disabled adults, mental and physical, find employment.
Amazing.
Which is fucking awesome. I don't necessarily. Everyone's got a story, so maybe it's a turning point. What if it's not? I'm sure they've had struggles, but what if they're just people that want to help? That's not that's not something I don't want to have a conversation about. So it's like, I also
authentically casual. Like maybe it's not like specific turning points, but we could have multiple, like clearly multiple segments.
I think to reduce friction, because we have those buckets, but I think we should be able to just easily create videos with cool people. If it's a cool conversation, be able to post it.
Yeah.
Like
no rhyme or reason.
No rhyme or reason. And then if we want, we could have further conversations. But I think one of my favorite things is to just have conversations with people, and you just never know what someone's going to say. You never know what they know, what they're doing, what they've been through.
Yeah.
And those in itself are so cool.
So yeah. Have like a general bucket for those ones, I guess.
Like a funnel. First level.
Yeah.
And then like how far.
And what is that fun? Yeah, like maybe it doesn't have to be anything. Maybe it's just a casual conversation with us, like because we like having conversations with cool people. And like from there, we can uncover a little bit more about their story and just splice up content in a very authentic way like this. Release the full form or not, or just split up parts that are cool, and then from there we could film a script, not scripted, but like an outlined. This is a turning point. This is the goal of the turning point. We want to basically highlight your rock bottom, what got you out of it, and what you're doing now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
You got to be good enough to make it into a community that we care about everyone. Got to make the cut.
Well, everyone could be in the community, and that's the beautiful thing about the community is like we could farm them all in there, and then like interview a bunch of people, and it's almost could be like a
and just like kind of categorize it out.
I just love the sharing of
anyone
stories.
That joins. We can just tell your story, and then go ahead. Sorry,
sharing it's just sharing everyday story brings us closer because. Like, I swear to God, I don't know people's political beliefs. I personally don't give a fuck. Politics is my least favorite thing in the world to talk about. But when you talk about, like, true struggles of people, everyone I've driven hundreds of people already. Maybe they all believe in different gods. Maybe they all have different political views. None of it mattered because all of the stories had similar things of I'm struggling, I'm working, it was hard, but, I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to make it through. And a lot of people don't know how to open up. Had this one guy get in the car. He had the cutest little dog and just start chatting. What are you getting into? It was the story of the night. Didn't seem like a guy that ever talks. By the end of it, we're chatting about all of his favorite video games. He told me this year was and it's really easy for people to talk about the struggles when they feel that you give a fuck, which I do. This guy was telling me how he lost his dog, his best friend that year. This other dog was his family dog, and he loves it. His name is Moon. It's a cute little Maltese. But it was really difficult losing his best friend in a way. And it's like, probably doesn't get to open up that much. Why is he opening up to a random Uber driver?
Yeah.
Where the guy after that, him and his girlfriend hopped in, fucking dumping rain. So I'm like, get in, it's crazy out there. What else is going on? How's 2022 been? Oh, rough, man. Oh, what's going on? Oh, God, I was just so stressed, but I think things are getting better. Yeah, what's getting better? What decisions did you make? Oh, well, I was, just working so many hours. My mental health was taking a toll, and I just, the money was good, but I just had to take a step back. And he was one of the managers at U.S. Tires, or America's Tires, or West Saddleback. He was working a crazy amount, and told me more about his life and his goals, and it's like people want to talk about that. It's just most of the time you don't have an opportunity, and that in itself, I think, is very cathartic. That release of, all right, I could open up.
Because everyone wants to talk about their problems. Everyone likes to talk about themselves, but I feel like what I've learned is even in the success that we're having, I hate telling people about the success. I hate it. Like when someone, it's almost like you'll mask how well you're doing because you don't want to come off as like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I'll often downplay things or just not really go into details. And I feel like a lot of people are like that. Like it's hard for them to highlight the good. It's easier to highlight the bad, you know? And it's like, I feel like this is like this human nature. You don't want to
come off as like unrelatable.
Yeah, sometimes. Exactly. And I think that that's kind of a thing that we can really no, but not even saying that. It's like how it's way easier to tell the bad than the good. Don't you think? Mm-hmm. Like it's easier to be like, no, man, like, yeah, I just like lost a friend. Like it's been pretty tough. Like than say go into detail because you feel like no one gives a fuck about the success, but they will care about the bad.
And the thing is, most people don't give a fuck, and not in a way that they're.
I feel like this is gonna be in the way. The Starbucks, like it's just like blatantly like in the middle of you.
Yeah, put it like right here. Can you do that?
For a sick feeling, product placement, sponsor us.
There we go.
Most people don't give a fuck, and it's hard to. There's only so much you could care about, but I guess it goes down to what are your goals in a social interaction. Like some people just want to brag. Why? Because they don't have self-confidence. They need to get that external validation. As I've always looked at who are the happiest and most successful people. Like not just they have, health, wealth, family, which is everything. But like, what about the people that have built empires too? What about the people that work towards it all? They have the meaningful relationships. They have the empires, the money, all of it. It's like they don't need to brag about anything. They feel very secure in who they are and what they do. They feel fulfilled. And when you start seeing them in interviews or just in everyday life, like there's a joy in hearing about others or talking about others. Or if they're going to talk about themselves, it's because other people are genuinely interested. Yeah. They don't feel the need to tell other people unless they're asked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think that it's going to be interesting seeing the different dynamics on people. And like, I'm sure you're getting a good view of like who you ask and how they respond is like kind of their level of insecurity or like level of like self-care in a way where it's like, are they the braggadocious type where you can tell there's a lot of insecurity? They're the super, super humble people that you just picked up from a mansion. You know what I mean? And it's like the richest people are the nicest. Like
they're always the nicest.
But it's the ones in the middle ground that are trying to like jockey for that like social status that are actually the assholes.
For sure. I've had so many people where it's like, all right, I just picked you up in front of a $20 million house. And they're so nice. They're so nice. They're just, oh, I love Chipotle. What do you like? They're just so nice. But yeah, it's the people that need that validation. Otherwise, like, why are you trying to flex?
Mm-hmm. I wonder if like end goal, it's like we could help people stop trying to fake flex. Like at the end of this whole thing, it's
stop
like
fake flex.
Hashtag stop fake flex. But like, what the whole thing is like just helping people just be more authentic
through conversation. Like I think that's how. Why do you feel you can't be authentic? I don't want people to know who I really am because I think I'm a loser and I want to have this status.
Or they don't know who they are.
They don't know who they are. Yeah. How do you figure out who you are? By fucking talking about it.
Mm-hmm. And writing it down, doing the work. It's funny how it all kind of comes full circle on like our initial vision is like define your purpose and who you are through self-care. It's like the biggest piece that was missing was like the conversation component.
That's the only thing that I could like truly, I believe in all of it, but I don't relate to the others as much. Like conversation to me has always been the biggest. I've always been able to sort through my problems by venting to friends and family and by almost like self-therapy with myself. So conversation to me was always the one that hit home. I think it's not for everyone either. Some people are going to do better if you just, hey, here's a meditation app, go for it, and they'll go to the races. But I think, well, like I think I was talking to you about it at the gym, but people severely undervalue the importance of conversation. nothing in this room would have been accomplished without the ability to conversate. Like, it is the social glue. And if we're too afraid, we live in an era where it's terrifying to conversate with people because you don't know if you're going to get canceled. You don't know if people make fun of you. Like, people don't want to have conversations because they just don't want to have their life fucking ruined.
It's an interesting point. It's like, you can't do anything without communication. So how can we communicate in a business setting and like what we want with our lives when we can't communicate who we want to be within our own life? You know?
Shit. What do you think, Austin?
Like, how do we expect to like do this job and like become this person when we can't actually talk to ourselves or talk to other people about ourselves?
If we're too afraid to.
Well, I think there's a balance between like it can't just be conversations. Like there's also like action that needs to be taken too.
Totally.
Like the way like I feel better about stuff isn't by talking about it. It's by like doing something I love to do or like putting that like pain into like a passion or something.
That's a good perspective then. Yeah, that's true.
But it's different for everyone, I'm sure.
Because it's like
just how I
you channel that energy towards something like an action or something that like you can hold yourselves held to like a value or like be. Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you know when you're getting to that point where you need to go in an activity and channel that? Like, is there a feeling or a certain marker where you go, okay, I need to do something and blow the steam off, channel that energy?
Yeah, I guess this is when I start like overthinking about stuff where I'm just like, okay, I need to go like do something and change my focus right now.
Yeah. So, okay, so interesting. So when you find your thoughts are like creeping up, like self-doubt and like some internal demons coming up, you take it in the route of like where do I shift my focus? Has it always been like that? Interesting. So is that kind of like how you and why you became such an insanely great gamer? Is that like where you channeled most of your like emotion and everything?
Yeah, that's how I deal with it, I guess.
That's cool.
So you make love to your keyboard?
Yeah. Exactly.
I can tell now it's like you've shifted a lot of it to just work.
Yeah.
And like you just grind, and you got fucking buff. It's like, it's great. And now your girlfriend, it's like, it's an interesting perspective. It's like helping people figure out how to channel their why, their purpose or whatever. It might not be conversations. That's our way of doing it, but
Austin, you're talking about it because we're conversating. It's
true.
I wouldn't normally do that though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind it.
Pop your collar.
I just think it's the foot in the door. It's the awareness. All it does is, because conversation just on its own will get you dick. Like, you can talk about things. I think
you have to walk the walk.
Yeah, and walk the walk is through action. It's like some people can just walk, but they never talk, so they don't know where the fuck they're walking. And that's not always bad. You could figure it out on the walk.
Yeah, just action can be bad too, because then you can do really bad stuff and fall into bad addictions as well.
True.
Like you gotta have the conversation and figure out what are the good actions I can take.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was like going down that path too, where I just like took a bunch of actions and like never really thought of the consequences or
just
like
aimless.
Yeah, right? Just like aimless action, like alcohol, drugs, sex, like all this kind of stuff, and it's like
once.
Sometimes. And it's like, you understand that thankfully I was able to like reel it all in, but like I could feel myself slipping in one way or the other. And it's like, sometimes it's having that, I don't know, that like self-awareness to like bring it in.
Have a team huddle.
Team huddle. I think having a support system is huge though.
Yeah. A good support system too. I've heard it from Peterson, Hermosi, plenty of other people, but it's like, what are the traits of a good friend? And for one, it's somebody that you could go to with bad news and they're not going to judge you. But the other is you could go somebody with good news and they'll celebrate you and not talk shit behind your back. So it's like, how many people don't feel confident to go to their closest support group to tell them, hey, I'm struggling, or hey, I got that promotion.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I know it is.
And it's like, it's like, how do we help people build this community? Because you're right, like I think people find it hard to find themselves a group of people that they feel like they don't have to be judged by, or they can't, you know what I mean? And sometimes like I couldn't go to my family because I felt like I would be judged. And it's like, how do you find those friends? And like, thankfully we've kind of always had that, but it hasn't always been that way. You know, like we like lost touch for a lot of years, and a lot of my friends and I have and did, and like, it's like, how do we facilitate a community where people can feel like they can open up because maybe it's slightly anonymous or like they are slightly removed? You know what I mean?
I think it's just I think the answers are really simple, because when you go to the core of a problem, it's simple. If you look at the symptoms, it's difficult. You could say, oh, well, we would need to build an app that would allow people to communicate in a way that nobody would see who they are. Maybe it's like, no, fuck that. What's the core? Be the example. Show that having communication without judgment is the way to go. Make it cool to just openly talk to people.
Yeah.
If you do that, it has the ripple effect where you don't need to worry about anything else. If you create the example that you can just talk to people and other people can talk to you and you don't need to be afraid, and maybe you don't vibe, and that's cool. You don't need to vibe with everyone. Like, you honestly shouldn't. I think Tyson said, if you're a friend to everyone, you're an enemy to yourself.
Yeah.
But just
true. People pleasing.
Normalizing
Horrible.
conversation. That's all you got to do. It'll fix it. It's the keystone habit. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's literally just sharing that you can just talk to people, show interest, and you're going to be okay.
And when you do and you show vulnerability, it just instantly diffuses a guard, or it like squashes a stigma. Because I've noticed, like, the second you open up to someone and you're like, oh yeah, man, I've been in a really tough spot, like, and you're like, you push that boundary of vulnerability, then they're immediately like, oh, we just went there, like, I can be vulnerable with them now too.
For sure. Or they be vulnerable with you and you're like, that's not that bad, like, check this shit out. It was more of a joke, like downplaying people's struggles. Oh, you think you have it rough?
Maybe what if it was like I don't know, what if we like made that part of our Facebook community, similar to like your the old like sub 2 community, how like people would vent and people would like just be honest with things. Like, what if we made that a part of like the trending post, like content that's posted within the community, was like people would say or could say like highs and lows of their week, and then we could rally people behind it. You know what I mean? And I think part of this cool conversation would be like, our goal is always like to show the behind the scenes of how origami progresses, right? And like right now, if we implement that into a community, and then people could see like, oh wow, like I just watched a video where they actively came up with a new idea and they implemented it.
But also timestamp it so that if anyone tries to steal it, we could say, nope, motherfuckers.
True.
January 3rd. Something that I don't think any communities on scale really know how to do it, but on top of supporting people, I think we get the opportunity to figure out how to be the balancer. Because you could get too much support, and like there can be a point where people vent to the point where they're just bitching, and then they're just playing victim. So it's like being able to create the community where it's healthy encouragement. But if someone's just complaining, like, people can call them out in a respectful way, and that person could also have the awareness to go, oh, okay, like, I'm complaining a bit more than I need to.
Yeah, we just have to facilitate a community that that like it is doing it for, like, is healthy encouragement, right? And like healthy call outs. Because if someone comes in there and is like, fuck my life, I just blah 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 blah, and then like one of us could be like, hey man, like take a look in the mirror, like, I don't know.
If someone's like, fuck my life. Granted, I think it would be like repeat, because some people don't know how to express where they're at, and like it's a cry for help, and that's cool. But if they come in with like the same shit every day, it's like, okay,
we just send them a link to like betterhelp.com.
17 days in a row. It's like, I get that life's hard, but let's have a conversation, figure out what action steps can just get you a little bit further.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're not
That's
Jesus.
how they get on the podcast. They just be like really ridiculous, and then like get them on the podcast,
Yeah.
calm them down, really unwrap everything.
We just call it like off the ledge segment,
Off the rails,
off the rails segment.
Talking off the ledge.
Billy, get down.
You have so much to live for. No, I take that back. Redacted.
No, but yeah, I think that
Redacted.
I think this is cool. I think this is first step in where we wanted to go. I think we just start booking turning points. We start sitting down and finding some good spots that we know we just want to record like this. Do it on the regular, daily, weekly, whenever we can.
The more
We
conversations we have, the better.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just essentially building the pot of gold we can choose from. Like, it's literally just like, maybe we post this full version on YouTube. Maybe we take snippets and post them on Instagram, TikTok. I think there was gold in this.
I think
we should just get like GoPros all over the place.
Try to start mounting GoPros everywhere and
just to like get all the stupid shit we do on like a daily basis too. Sometimes
we should. I know we always said we do it at Los Coffees.
I know. There were so many times I wish we had the cameras.
We did some dumb shit.
I mean, once this place is finished, I mean, even without it finished, but once it's finished,
that'd be a cool thing to record too.
Like, we should have done it from the beginning. Just put up GoPros and just. But I mean, this is gonna be like
that'd be sick.
I want this to be like a really like the origami house in the future. Like, you know what I mean? Like when this is all done and we have like all these different areas to record. People are recording up there. Joey and Maya are out there. That's a podcast room. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this could be like the fucking Logan Paul house. It'd be cool.
I don't know if he's the best topic right now. Homeboy's in hot water.
What do you do this time?
Well, everyone's saying that he scammed all of his followers on his crypto pump.
Really?
He's been saying some pretty outlandish shit. I think he's getting a bit in his head. And I'm a fan. I think there's something about being at that like apex predator, not predator, but you are just when you're in that like alpha elite celebrity status, like that's strange. Like that's
strange, but you feel like they always end up like crumbling.
I don't know how you couldn't.
Like look at like Tate, Logan Paul, like anytime that they've
Tate's doing great.
I feel like the bad things that they like supposedly do just like helps them in the long run though. Like they get a lot of heat at first, but like
they got a lot of eyes on them,
a ton of attention, and then like it kind of just like builds upon what they had in the future, and people forget about it because someone else does something even worse. 2 weeks later,
it's like you said that like story arc is like. It's like they do the low to get all this attention and heat on them, and then when they come out of it and they're like, oh, it's not so bad, and then they become a fan. It's like Jake Paul, like Logan Paul. Like I used to hate them both. Now it's like okay, I get what they're doing. It's kind of cool.
Everyone can relate to being a loser. Everyone can relate to the low. They'll judge you because that's what people do, but they can also relate to it. So if you do something that's good, and you go and you use that downward momentum to shoot up. It's like in snowboarding. If you want to traverse up the hill, you dip down and you go up. It's just getting momentum.
Wow, is life like snowboarding?
Yeah. Life is.
Ebbs and flows.
Edges.
So how do we get a bunch of hate without doing anything like too bad?
We could go kick homeless people.
That's pretty bad.
I was on a
What if we just like burned down a forest or something? But like recorded it and like thought it was fucking hilarious.
And then we come out with an apology video.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're so sorry. We thought it'd be funny.
Sorry to our 580 followers.
We didn't think people cared about the
lost
red
half of
and
you.
then all of a sudden, people would be bashing us, and then everyone would know who we are.
We're sorry. Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Hello, society. Can I burn down this redwood?
No, we just did it.
This is good though. What do we call these though?
Nothing.
Just nothings.
Just nothing. Just talking.
Just talking. I actually like that.
Simple but better.
Just talking. I like that. We have our authentically casuals. I guess how do these differ from the authentically casuals? Are those?
I don't think they do. Well,
what if this is authentically casual?
It seems pretty authentic and
casual. Maybe we don't have to group them into any one thing. Like, what if
maybe they could just be a special edition? Because I still like the idea of having the specific group sitting around group podcast style like we did before. We could just call them a special edition, like Rogan has his fight companions. Like, could all be under the same umbrella of facilitating normal conversation. But
what if it was like, authentically casual 50-50 or something, or whatever. Authentically casual 15, the whole group, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like authentically casual. And we just, each one has like a authentically casual title. 2, eating Chef Boyardee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
just some like
it's like something funny after. It's like steak, quinoa, and fucking ravioli.
Authentically casual, episode 28. The gang's all here.
The Starbucks is in the way half the time.
Exactly.
It wasn't.
See, and then authentically casual 1 is like the initial story. 2 was like the whole gang. Authentically casual 3, like eating Chef Boyardee. Like each one is a little bit different, and that might be kind of funny because you don't know what the next one is.
I thought they were all about yoga. Now they're just eating
and drinking
wine.
I thought they wanted me to do breath work. Said some shit about meditation. They told me to journal, but I just see them get hammered. I don't know what origami stands for.
Self-destruction.
Self-destruct to self-care. We're a spiritual boot camp.
I think it's cool though. It's like we're showing the ebbs and flows, the different parts. But maybe this is an authentically casual.
Sure.
Or just talking. But I feel like the more segments we have, like
I'm fine with it. At the end of the day,
that'll get the name out there.
I don't think any of the I like our titles. I think they're great. It's like it's the quality of the content that's going to prevail over the time period. Maybe it's Austin's world. I don't know.
Authentically casual, turning points. Let's keep it as minimum as we can. Like, I think 2, and then we have our breakdowns. And they don't have to necessarily be podcast breakdowns, but it's just like concept book podcast. So it's, you know what I mean?
Daddy gang.
And then, unless we start doing just talking with like the random people from the community, or do we bring them into authentically casuals?
I think less.
Authentically casuals.
I think it's like go back to the idea.
It's a great name.
We're on the mainland of trying, and we're trying to build a bridge to Success Island. How many bridges do we want to build?
We start with 1, maybe 2.
Maybe it's 1 bridge, but like each piece of content is like a plank on the bridge. Maybe one's one color, one's fucking another. Like,
that's a good point.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I like that. Brick by brick. Actually, a really good analogy. If you think about it.
Same bridge, different plank.
Like if we're trying to build a success house, each brick is a piece of content.
Yeah, I like that.
Because I legitimately too hard about what kind of thing it is. Just put it where it goes. Like,
so think about it. Like talking about it's cool. Countless hours of talking about it, but if you don't record it, they're just conversations. Like
true.
The act of recording and releasing is the action in itself.
So we have to just continuously record and post and splice and dice.
See where it
goes. And I think this is the epitome of the authentically casual. Like you've wanted to have this, like, I don't think it needs to be this, let's get the group together and force the authenticity. This is the authenticity.
Just casually
eating fucking Chef Boyardee.
Whatever the hell we are.
Fucking saying. I know. I haven't said this for a year.
For the record.
You have? When have you said that before?
I'll murder you.
I can't think of a single time you said that.
For the record, you have been
murdered.
Team authentic and casual.
I don't know how to be anything else. I feel so forced. Like, I notice now can I just talk and engage in conversation without thinking like I am right now? There's zero thought. It's just flowing. And whenever I find myself overthinking too much, it's like, this isn't authentic.
Yeah.
A lot of what I do, I have to think more than I'd like to. And that's not that I don't want to think, but I think it's a really good determining factor of why am I overthinking? Is it because I'm trying to filter myself? Why am I filtering myself? In some environments you should, but others, like, I could do this shit all day. It's easy. And I feel like I'm in alignment with my values of just talking, letting people talk. How could we expect people to be true to themselves when we can't even be true to ourselves?
Amen. Yeah, part of my thing that I want to like start this year is just being truly authentic in terms of like the content I want to make and stuff like that. So, what do you think of the Uber? I think that could be separate. Maybe that's the Aaron Unfiltered Uber.
I think it could literally be reposted. It could be on my own. It could be on Origami. It's just the thing that people seem to resonate with the most is when I talk more about the open conversation. It's like normalizing self-care by normalizing the conversation.
And they love that.
Yeah, it's like by allowing people to be more open about where they're at in life, and allowing other people. Think of how much nicer the world would be if everyone was like, "Oh, we're all going through something," and I don't have to look at that person with a scarcity mindset. Like, we're still living with these tribal tendencies. It's like it doesn't mean that you need to be best friends with everyone, because that wouldn't be possible. But rather than like, fuck that guy. Oh, that's just a dude. But he's struggling. I bet we're all struggling. I bet we also have things to be grateful for. Like, in martial arts, let's say a jiu-jitsu dojo, those tend to be where most people are the nicest and have the most respect, because everyone respects each other for the most part. So, like, I think most people don't respect other people because they don't even want to. They don't have the mental energy to allocate towards anything.
Yeah. I just see it in the future when self-care is normalized, and it's like, what are the implications when the entire world is just so brutally honest with each other? It's like, it could be really good. It could also be like really bad. I don't know. I think it's gonna be great. Both. It's gonna be both. It's gonna like bring on new world problems where it's like, no, I can't teach my class of 5th graders because all they do is they're just so open with themselves, and Charlie shit his pants, and
and everyone was accepting him.
And everyone's like, "Oh, Charlie, it's okay. What's going on at home? Oh, mommy beats me. Oh, mommy's arrested. Oh, I'm without a mommy." You know?
Yeah. And then some kid's like, "I shit my pants yesterday, but I didn't tell anyone, so I just shoved it in the cubby." It's like,
yeah, like everyone's just so honest with themselves, where it's like, people are shitting in each other's lockers, and they're just like, "How do you feel about that?"
It's like, it really takes "you've got to be shitting me" to a whole nother level. That is interesting. Imagine, I think about that because I don't know if it's better or worse or different, but imagine a world where we don't have the same petty problems. Like, the universe is fueled by the momentum of solving problems. That's it. You look at any species, any living thing, any sentient being, like, let's say the problem of breathing for a plant. There has to be some chemical reaction that turns sunlight, photosynthesis. The problem is, if they don't do that, they're going to fucking die. There's always something. Action, reaction, cause and effect. There's always something. There is always something, and then something happens, and from that, energy is created. So it's like, if we don't have any of the petty shit, what happens then? Does it become more survival for the human race because we're collectively focused with this hive mind energy on something? There's always something.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's like, without the differences, we might become more hive minded and like more like synergetic in a way.
It'd be too like vanilla. Like, it just wouldn't be fun. I guess there wouldn't be any spice.
Any spice?
Chef Blair, dude.
What do you think would lack in the spice department? If people
like
were
banter.
too open, banter.
I don't know. Like, no conflict would.
I feel like it'd be different conflict.
Maybe.
Because there's still competition is healthy if done right. You need competition and you need variety. Because the worst thing is if we did go vanilla and everyone. Because I don't think that's what would happen. But if everyone just agreed with each other and everyone was friends and It's like you're not getting enough variety. There's no reason for. I don't think that's possible in human nature.
I don't think it would go that route. I think it would go the opposite. Think about, we were just talking today in work where business in the next wave we think is going to be like whoever harnesses chat GPT and like AI voice crack whoever harnesses AI and AI automation for business. And Hayden had a really good analogy of like, he thinks it's going to be the big tech companies that are now able to sell their data to an AI company to then monetize it to smaller guys. And like, if you think about it, and like, if we adopt AI and we adopt this newfound thing of people becoming open to talking more, then it's just going to be, we're going to cut the bullshit out of the way.